So, hello everyone, welcome to CrackGradeB CAIIB MCQ session. Okay, so in this session, we'll be discussing various MCQ, particularly with respect to the compliance risk module. Compliance risk module se related, we'll discuss some previous year questions. First of all, we'll understand that what type of questions these people ask, and we'll also understand the nature of questions, whether it's a simple direct question, whether it's a paragraph based question, or whether it's a application based question. All those things we'll see. So if we are at least aware of different type of questions, so whatever the notes that are given in the course, you'll be able to better prepare for the CAIIB examination. And afterwards, we'll do some questions. I'll show you some questions that CrackGradeB offers you within the course, so that you get a glimpse of what we are offering in terms of MCQs. CrackGradeB has also launched a CAIIB course where we'll be providing you comprehensive materials, including topic-wise MCQs, module-wise MCQs, even comprehensive full test MCQs as well, which not only covers each and every aspect of the examination, but also it aligns with the latest trend of CAIIB examination. So with this approach, we'll be starting our today's session, specifically dedicated to compliance risks topic of the advanced bank management compulsory paper. Okay, so as all of you understand that compliance risk, particularly in the banking sector, comprises of various different types of risk. All those different types of risks, how are they asked in the previous year questions of CAIIB, that we'll see. And before that, I hope my voice is clearly audible, and I hope the screen is also clearly visible. Can anyone tell? Clear? So let's start with the first question. As all of you can see, depending upon the questions that we'll be doing, that they mostly prefer direct questions primarily. So direct questions to आपके easily रहेंगे, in which the first question is specifically asking you about that the capital for which of the following risks would not be relevant for securities which have already matured and remain unpaid. So this is a critical condition associated with a security, particularly let's say a debt security which has already matured. Basically कोई example लेके चलते हैं, अगर 10 साल का bond है, 10-year bond which has already matured, that means the bond is not trading as of now. So if the bond is not trading, then there is no point of market risk. जब उसकी प्राइस में कोई डिफरेंशिएशन आ ही नहीं रहा क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी मैच्योर हो चुका है, तो फिर वो मार्केट रिस्क उस पर लगने का तो कोई सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता. So that's why this becomes the correct answer, which the question asks, that which of the following risk would not be relevant for the security which has already matured. Is this clear? So simple application based question, not too much tough. You just need to have a basic understanding of a particular topic as well as concept. You will be able to do all these questions. Now we move towards the next question, which is this simple definition based questions they are asking. They're asking you what is the concept of capital charge, specifically with regards to general market risk. You can call it general market risk or normal market risk, which we've already understood that market risk is what? Market risk is how much price fluctuation can your security is capable of sustaining or something like that. For example, if you see most of the regulations released by the Reserve Bank of India, particularly with respect to the investment aspects of the banks, RBI ने mandate कर रखा है for all the banks who are giving or who are having investment exposure or who are giving irrevocable payment commitments. So with respect to them, they should have 30% some regulatory restriction, isn't it? कि 30% का आप एटलीस्ट लॉस मान के चलिए कि आपके T+2 सेटलमेंट साइकिल में 30% तक का लॉस आपका सिक्योरिटी झेल सकता है. So that means you should have some amount of money that can accommodate this much amount of market risk or market associated fluctuation risk. So on the basis of that, what do you think is the correct answer for this? Naturally, B. It is a regulatory requirement aimed at ensuring financial institutions hold adequate capital to mitigate potential losses from adverse market movements of that security. I hope this is clear. So, based on these two questions, we've at least witnessed that the question that the CAIIB, that are coming in CAIIB are not too much analytical or not too much difficult. They're mostly definition based or simple idea based. Now let's move on to the next question, which is regulatory CRAR requirement, which is capital risk weighted asset ratio, does not fully capture what type of risks. And in order to answer this question, you need to clearly have an understanding that for what type of risk CRAR is required. Primarily, आप उस सब चीजों से भी relate करा सकते हैं. For example, CRAR requirement बैंक्स के किस ऑपरेशन से रिलेट करता है? लेंडिंग में कौन सी रिस्क होती है? क्रेडिट रिस्क, isn't it? And then we also have debt securities, which are susceptible to debt risk. So 1, 2, and 3 are the correct answer. If we eliminate 4, these 3 risks is not fully captured by. So again, those were the direct questions. And another type of questions that you see in CAIIB is application based question. You'll have a basic understanding of the concepts, but how does it apply in real life? And then you'll be able to answer those questions, such as the nature of questions that are also asked apart from definition based, which you have seen earlier. So application based question within the compliance risks chapter is: a bank has given a loan for 2 years at 10% to a borrower. After 6 months of the loan, the rate of interest on advances coming down by 100 basis point. Taking benefit of this, again this is the key word, taking benefit of this new circumstance, the borrower who took the loan repays the same after 6 months. Obviously, it wouldn't have benefited the bank. So what is the kind of risk faced by the bank under the above situation? So think about it like that within the agreement between the bank as well as the borrower, there must have been credit agreement, or you can say loan agreement, and within that agreement there must have been some provision like this which allowed this borrower to do the same. I hope you can recall the definition of one of the financial security which gives one or another party the right to do so but not the obligation. And what is that answer? Options, isn't it? So embedded option risk is the correct answer for this, in which the banks face such kind of risk because they have a provision like which allows the borrower to do so. Next question, bank has given a loan for rupees 10 lakh for 5 years and funded the same with a deposit of 10 lakh for 3 years. In this connection, which one of the following is true from a risk perspective? So basically the idea is, this is the bank. Bank has provided 10 lakh rupees loan for 5 years to guy named X. And 10 lakh, to give 10 lakh rupees to X, bank has taken 10 lakh rupees from Y via deposit for 3 years. What is the issue that you guys are seeing over here? लोन आपने दिया है 5 साल के लिए, बट वो पैसा आपने दिया वाई से लिया है 3 साल के टेन्योर का. दैट मीन्स आफ्टर 3 years योर प्रिंसिपल वोंट कम, बट यू हैव टू पे द अमाउंट ऑफ मनी टू वाई. If your principal is not coming and then you have to give amount to Y, how can you give amount to Y? Then you need to refinance this loan. अब refinance के चक्कर में issue क्या हो सकता है कि you never know after 3 years the interest rate might be higher. So let's say you're receiving 7% interest rate and you had to give amount of money at, let's say, 5% interest rate. But after 3 years, if you're able to refinance it with 8%, then your net interest margin is -1%, which is a risk for the bank. So that's why bank is exposed to interest rate risk because of this condition. I hope this is clear. So we've also seen that such type of application based questions are also asked within the CAIIB. So we've seen definition based questions, application based questions, and you can also see that there are paragraph based questions as well that can be asked in the examination, but don't you worry because paragraph based question में आपको paragraph बड़े overwhelming लग रहा हो, but the questions are similar to your definition based question, plain and simple. You can easily come up with the answers because think credit risk is related to what? So if you know the concepts of credit risk, which we've also seen in context of CRAR, the threat of losing market share, no, it's a business risk. Sourcing low quality credit, having long-term implication. Low quality credit means, that means you are giving credit to a person who is having low CIBIL score or credit score, which definitely will pose you credit risk because, or credit risk is also known as default risk, in which you have a chance of making that asset non-performing. So this is also very simple question that you could see in paragraph based question. So don't be overwhelmed. Simple question आने आप लोग को बस concepts अगर आप लोग के clear है, these things are not that much tough. Next is people risk arises out of, again simple, flight of talent and lack of skills of existing people. मतलब इतना plain simple question आ रखा आपके सामने. Strategies से कोई मतलब नहीं है, people सामने लिखा ही हुआ है. Just associate it with the question. Next is market risk pertains to, we've discussed it n number of times, but nevertheless changes in market variables causing erosion in the value of assets. कि मार्केट की वजह से आपके एसेट्स की वैल्यू ऊपर नीचे हो रही है and potentially the losses we are discussing in context of market risk. So B is the answer. Next, technology risk is what? In this case, disproportionate rise in maintaining technology infrastructure and its glitches could impact operational efficiency. तो रिस्क का सिंपल सा मतलब होता है कि रिस्क के आगे आप किसी भी चीज का नाम लगा दीजिए, चाहे वो क्रेडिट हो, चाहे वो कंप्लायंस हो, चाहे वो लीगल हो, चाहे कुछ भी हो, उस चीज की वजह से अगर आपके बिजनेस ऑपरेशंस में कोई दिक्कत आ रही है, आप नॉर्मल ऑपरेशंस नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, दैट इज योर डेफिनेशन। तो टेक्नोलॉजी के केस में टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से अगर ऑपरेशनल एफिशिएंसी खराब हो रही है, दिस इज योर टेक्नोलॉजी रिस्क। इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल रिस्क, इफ यू सी इनेबिलिटी टू हैंडल इरोजन ऑफ टैलेंट पूल, ये आपका पीपल रिस्क था। फियर ऑफ पाइल ऑफ लो क्वालिटी क्रेडिट, क्रेडिट रिस्क। राइजिंग मार्केट टू मार्केट लॉसेस, मार्केट रिस्क। लैक ऑफ सीरियस फॉलो अप ऑफ रेक्टिफिकेशन ऑफ डेफिशिएंसीज ऑब्जर्व्ड बाय इंटरनल ऑडिटर्स। तो कंट्रोल क्या होता है? कंट्रोल इज बेसिकली दैट यू आर मेंटेनिंग द कंट्रोल of the standards that you have maintained for your operations. तो उसमें आपका constant check होता है कि जो भी काम हो रहा है सही तरीके से हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा, and that is the responsibility of auditors, whether internal whether external. अगर वही deficiency आ रही है तो that means your control operations are at risk, which is known as control risk. So I hope this is clear. Now we'll discuss some of the questions that the CrackGradeB has produced, okay, which we'll be offering you. We'll show you some questions, and we have more than 100 questions per topic for you, covering each and every aspect in depth, which you can get access by buying our CrackGradeB's course. Chaliye, first question, again simple logic based. The risk of RBI solution I've already given. The risk of RBI penalty arises due to non-compliance of prudential compliance, इंटेग्रिटी, मार्केट कंडक्ट, लीगल कंप्लायंस, इंटरनल कंप्लायंस। ये सारे कंप्लायंस अगर आप फॉलो नहीं करेंगे देन आरबीआई पेनल्टी आपको लग सकती है। सॉरी। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, which among the following is not a regulatory risk in the banking sector? So if you see and if you understand, और अगर आपने चैप्टर वो पढ़ा होगा तो उसमें आपको पता होगा कि रेगुलेटरी रिस्क are divided, or risks, compliance risks are divided into regulatory and other types of. तो रेगुलेटरी के अंदर कौन कौन सी रिस्क हैं वो पता अगर आपको होगी तो आपको जो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा की जरूरत नहीं है, ठीक है। सो द आंसर इज strategic risks, because this is business risk, not regulatory risk. Regulatory risk मतलब आपके regulations हैं, whether it's external regulations or internal regulations, जिनकी वजह से आपकी कंपनी के operations पर दिक्कत आ सकती है. For example, if you do not comply with the RBI regulation, RBI will definitely put a penalty on you. आप आए दिन न्यूज में सुनते रहते हो कि RBI has put penalty of 1 crore rupees on HDFC Bank for not, complying with the Payment and Settlement System Act or some of the regulation with respect to payment system. So such type of things do come in regulatory risk, which includes operational, legal, reputational as well as annihilation. Then we have non-financial risks, in which business risk, strategic risk, compliance risk related to cyber security comes in. So this is a exception that you see over here, क्योंकि cyber security के भी guidelines आते हैं, but this is an exception case related to non-financial aspect of the banking, even though it being within regulatory domain. I hope this is clear. Now if we utilize the same approach and try to do this next question, what do you think, which is a risk, a factor that may have negative impact on the operation or profitability of a given organization? किस risk की वजह से ये possible है? What do you think is the correct answer? So here the correct answer is business risk. Okay. After doing these questions, I will make sure that I'll make you understand all these type of risks, so that in this session, apart from these questions, you get to understand these key risk topics also. So it is the current and prospective impact on earnings or capital arising from adverse business decisions, improper implementation, or lack of responsiveness to industry changes. So think about कि आप लॉन्ग टर्म विजन नहीं देख पा रहे हो, ठीक है, आपका एनवायरमेंट चेंज हो चुका है, बट यू आर नॉट एबल टू पिवट योरसेल्फ. फॉर एग्जांपल थिंक अबाउट कि कोविड आ चुका है, बट यू एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आर नॉट एबल टू यूटिलाइज द टेक्नोलॉजी एंड गो ऑनलाइन. तो आप अपने कस्टमर को केटर कैसे करोगे? So such type of strategic decisions, if you're not able to take, then obviously you are vulnerable to strategic risk. Okay, so that is the idea of strategic risk. Now we'll see different definition. Regulatory risk, I've already told you कि regulation की वजह से अगर आप नहीं कर पाए तो वो दिक्कत है. Next, so operational risk we have. So what do you think is operational risk? Operation, as I've already told you कि operation मतलब कोई भी एक आपका रिस्क के पहले कोई भी वर्ड लिखाओ, उस वर्ड के कारण अगर आपके बिजनेस पर नुकसान हो रहा है, ठीक है, यही आपकी डेफिनेशन होगी. सो योर ऑपरेशन, योर बिजनेस ऑपरेशंस विच इज कंप्राइज्ड ऑफ योर बिजनेस मॉडल, पीपल एंड द मैनेजमेंट, अगर उनमें थोड़ी सी भी खराबी है, उनकी वजह से अगर बिजनेस खराब हुआ, तो दैट इज योर ऑपरेशनल रिस्क. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इन यस बैंक क्राइसिस दैट हैपेंड, तो जो उनके नॉर्मल ऑपरेशंस हैं जिसमें उन्होंने रिस्क मैनेजमेंट प्रैक्टिसेस अच्छे से इन्फोर्स करनी चाहिए थी, which they didn't do, and they went and did excessive lending, which led to crisis of Yes Bank in the near past 5 years, isn't it? So that is your operational risk. Next we have legal risk. Again, किसी भी लीगल केस की वजह से आपके बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की रेपुटेशन डैमेज हो या फिर उसके ऑपरेशंस डैमेज हो, ट्रस्ट खत्म हो जाए बिकॉज ऑफ एनी लीगल केस, दैट इज योर लीगल रिस्क. नाउ think about any recent case because of which any bank's reputation must have been damaged. कोई आप लोगों को केस याद आ रहा है? Think about a CBI was actually investigating a case of conflict of interest between one of the board of the directors as well as other business group, ICICI Videocon, isn't it? That was the case over there. ये आपका लीगल रिस्क हो गया. नेक्स्ट वी हैव रेपुटेशनल रिस्क. बेसिकली सिंपल है, नेगेटिव पब्लिसिटी की वजह से अगर आपके बिजनेस का ग्रोथ या रेवेन्यू डिक्लाइन हो जाए ड्यू टू एनी कंडीशन, एनी नेगेटिव पब्लिसिटी, दैट इज योर रेपुटेशनल रिस्क. लास्टली वी हैव एनहाइलेशन. व्हाट इज एनहाइलेशन रिस्क? एनहाइलेशन मतलब खत्म हो जाना, है ना, कि किसी भी रेगुलेशन की वजह से अगर आपका एग्जिस्टेंस ही खत्म हो जाए, दैट इज योर annihilation risk, isn't it? So anything that you guys remember, for example, you have remembered Dena Bank. देना बैंक की हालत खराब थी तो आरबीआई ने क्या बोला कि आप एक काम करो, मर्ज हो जाओ. तो फिर देना बैंक एज एन एंटिटी वाज एनहाइलेटेड, मतलब उसका तो एग्जिस्टेंस ही खत्म हो गया. सो दैट्स व्हाट यू कॉल एनहाइलेशन रिस्क. देन वी हैव बिजनेस रिस्क, व्हिच आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू कि प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पर अगर डिक्लाइन आए, दैट इज योर बिजनेस रिस्क. स्ट्रेटेजिक रिस्क वी ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड. So these are the various type of risks that are highly important in context of chapter of compliance risk. चलिए next we'll do some of the questions related to the framework which take care that these risks are managed. आप बैंक के अंदर एक पूरा सेटअप बनाएंगे ना जो इन सारी रिस्क को देखे कि किन किन रिस्क से हम लोग एक्सपोज्ड है और उन रिस्क को कैसे मैनेज किया जाए. So all these things we'll see. So if you see the question, according to RBI, the bank shall also develop and maintain a quality assurance and improvement program covering all aspects of the compliance function. The quality assurance and improvement program shall be subject to independent external review periodically at least once in how many years? So all these are pure static information that you anyways need to remember. RBI circular के हिसाब से है, आपको पता होना चाहिए कि what is the correct answer. The correct answer is 3 years. तो हर 3 साल में क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस आपका एक्सटर्नली रिव्यू होना चाहिए. चलिए, सिमिलरली we'll talk about the organizational framework in which we have a chief compliance officer at the top that is solely responsible for making sure that all the compliances that a particular bank has to do must be done. So what is the minimum fixed tenure for appointment of chief compliance officer? All of you must have seen the answer. It is 3 years. Static information anyways, but very important for you to remember. Next, chief compliance officer shall have an overall experience of at least how many years in the banking or financial services, out of which minimum how many years shall be in the audit, finance, compliance, legal, risk management function. सही बात है, अब किसी भी एवं किसी बंदे को थोड़ा बना देंगे जो एक्सपीरियंस्ड होगा, जिसने वो काम कर रखा होगा इतने सालों से, तो वो वाली कंडीशंस आपसे पूछ रहे हैं. तो कितने साल बैंक में उनको हो जाना चाहिए और उन एक्सपीरियंस के अंदर कितने साल उनका काम लीगल, रिस्क या ऑडिट वाले डिपार्टमेंट में होना चाहिए. So the correct answer for 7th is 15 years in overall banking and 5 years in audit, finance, compliance and risk management function. So this is also very much important for you to remember. एक तो हम लोगों ने उनका टेन्योर देख लिया कि कितने टेन्योर के लिए वो अपॉइंट होंगे, and then we will also see for how many years they are eligible or they should have an experience. Next is who is responsible for monitoring and periodically testing compliance by performing sufficient and representative compliance testing. कि compliance बैंक में हो रही कि नहीं हो रही है, compliance testing की वजह से they'll be able to check it. But who is responsible for that? And the correct answer is chief compliance. As I've already told you कि वो top पर है, solely responsible for this. And these are the list of duties of a chief compliance officer which we'll study in the course. Next question. The CCO, which is the chief compliance officer, shall not be given any responsibility which brings elements of conflict of interest, especially the role relating to business. What is this process called? So think about कि chief compliance officer उसी बैंक का एक एम्प्लॉय है, बट उसको रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दे दी गई है कि आप बैंक सारे जितने भी कंप्लायंसेस होते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर बैंक को बोला गया है आपका अनसिक्योर्ड लोन आप 10% से ज़्यादा नहीं दे सकते, इसका ध्यान रखने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी चीफ कंप्लायंस ऑफिसर की है. बट अगर उस चीफ कंप्लायंस ऑफिसर को मैं एक और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दे दूं कि आप बैंक के लेंडिंग पोर्टफोलियो को बढ़ाओ, तो दैट विल बी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, इजंट इट? कि आप उनको बढ़ाने के लिए क्या कह रहे हो और 10% रिडक्शन के लिए भी कह रहे हो, तो वो ये भी कर सकते हैं 10% से ऊपर बढ़ा देंगे और कंप्लायंस ऑफिसर तो है ही, तो उसको छुपा भी लेंगे. So that is conflict of interest, isn't it? So which is not allowed obviously, but what is this process called? आप देखो, think about it in this manner कि चीफ कंप्लायंस ऑफिसर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एक हैट उनको मिला हुआ है, बट अगर एक और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दे दी, दूसरा हैट भी दे दिया, तो दिस प्रोसेस नोन एज डुअल हैटिंग, which is obviously not allowed because that gives you conflict of interest and also unethical, goes against corporate governance too. ठीक है, चलिए, now let's move on to the next question, which is overall responsibility for overseeing the effective management of the bank's compliance function and compliance risk is of. अब देखो यहाँ पे कीवर्ड है ओवरऑल, तो फिर ये बहुत बड़ी बात हो चुकी है। कंप्लायंस चीफ कंप्लायंस ऑफिसर से भी ऊंची, तो उनसे भी ऊंची फिर कौन बचा? तो ऊंचा तो केवल एक ही बचे, बैंक्स बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर। इसके ऊपर कुछ नहीं। Is this clear? So these are the list of questions particularly with respect to the compliance risk chapter. ठीक है, आप लोग इनको एक बार ग्रो थ्रू कर लीजिए, and please and please revise them. Make sure that you understand all these concepts, because if you understand that, you will be able to do direct questions, you will be able to do application based question, you will be able to do paragraph based question. तो वो सारे आप कवर कर लोगे, ठीक है? So this is all from my side, and you'll be getting access to the CrackGradeB CAIIB course on this website, CrackGradeB.com. You just go over there, okay, and then you'll be getting access to all these topic based questions as well as the lectures for all the modules that are there as per CAIIB syllabus. So thank you all for joining. We'll be in the next session. Thank you.